Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the ultimate system for completely eliminating complexity and doing truly useful work. We're getting this straight from the methodology of Elon Musk. Look, whether you're trying to launch a literal rocket into orbit, or you're just trying to get a massive, stressful project out the door at work without completely losing your mind, the frameworks we're going to explore today are going to completely change how you approach problem solving.
Okay, let's quickly map out exactly where we're headed today. We're going to cover purpose and being truly useful, first principles thinking, the backwards mistake, the 5-step algorithm, applying that algorithm, and we'll wrap up with building the impossible. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. Purpose. Being truly useful. To really understand the mechanics of how Musk works, we have to start at the foundation. We have to understand the ultimate goal behind all of this, which is adding to the economic pie. Because honestly, before we can optimize how we work, we absolutely need to know why we're working in the first place.
Think about this beautifully simple equation. Create more than you consume. It brilliantly captures Musk's core belief that a life is really only worth living if you are doing genuinely useful things for civilization. It's not about the glory, right? It's about the work. It's about taking the raw input of your time and your energy and making absolutely sure that the output is actually valuable to humanity.
There's this fantastic quote from Naval Ravikant that sets the stage perfectly here. He points out that the wealth and the fame are literally just byproducts of this relentless, borderline obsessive mission to build products that drag humanity into the future. Naval notes that the real goal isn't just shuffling money around, it's physically instantiating new knowledge into products that turn our sci-fi dreams into reality. And it's exactly this relentless mission that has earned Musk the admiration of so many people from all over the world. So the crucial takeaway here is that usefulness isn't just some vague, warm and fuzzy feeling. It's an actual mathematical equation. You can use it to measure the impact of your daily work. Total utility is simply the number of people you help multiplied by how much you help each person. So building something that makes a huge, massive difference to a small number of people is mathematically just as valuable as making a tiny difference for millions of people. It's a completely physics-based definition of true work.
Moving right along to Section 2, First Principles Thinking. Let's see how this overarching purpose translates into a specific physics-based mindset. Because to do truly useful things, you have to completely upgrade your mental software.
Think about the stark difference between a bloated, highly traditional engineering process and a lean, concurrent build process like the one they use at SpaceX. See, we humans suffer from this inherent complexity bias. When we're faced with a problem, our instinct is almost always to add complexity. We add new parts by a factor of 3 to 1 rather than deleting them. We just love to create. But the most important task in engineering, and honestly in business overall, is often taking something that already exists and just deleting it.
To escape that complexity trap, you have to fundamentally change how you reason. Most of the world reasons by analogy. Doing things because, well, that's how it's always been done, or looking at historical trends. But you have to start reasoning by physics, which is first principles thinking. This requires breaking everything down to unquestionable truths. You have to ask yourself, what am I absolutely certain is true at a foundational level? Then you build your reasoning up from there without ever violating the laws of physics.
Section 3. The backwards mistake. Now, believe it or not, even the smartest engineers on the planet get this wrong. After years of using a more traditional approach to problem solving, Musk himself had to learn the hard way through what we'll call the backwards mistake. It is the perfect example of what happens when you don't aggressively simplify first. Picture this. While mass-producing Tesla battery packs, Musk was literally sleeping on the factory floor because production was severely bottlenecked. He mistakenly spent months automating a robot just to place a little fiberglass mat on the battery. Then, he accelerated the robot's speed. Then he tried to simplify the mat itself. Finally, after all that, he asked the acoustic engineers what the mat was actually for. Their answer? Noise reduction. But when they tested the car with and without the mat, nobody could hear a difference. He had spent months optimizing a part that was completely, totally useless, and he ultimately just deleted it entirely. Which brings us to Section 4, the 5-step algorithm. That painfully backwards mistake birthed the ultimate antidote. It's a stripped, non-negotiable mental model known internally at SpaceX and Tesla simply as the algorithm. Listen, if you learn absolutely nothing else today, this is the framework you need to memorize.
You have to follow these exact steps in this exact order.
Step 1, question every requirement and get the actual name of the specific person who made it. A requirement from an anonymous legal department or safety team is incredibly dangerous. Step 2, delete any part or process you can. Honestly, if you aren't forced to add back 10% of what you delete, you aren't deleting enough. Step 3, simplify what survives. Do not, under any circumstances, optimize something that shouldn't exist in the first place. Step 4, accelerate cycle time. Go faster, but only once you know you're headed in the right direction. And finally, step 5, automate. Automating a broken process is the ultimate mistake, so it has to be your absolute last resort.
Section 5. Applying the algorithm. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, okay, sure, this only applies to building reusable rockets or electric cars. But let's shift gears for a second and see how this transforms everyday professional challenges.
Whether you're launching a new marketing campaign, designing a software interface, or managing a project team, starting lean and rigorously deleting those just-in-case requirements will rapidly optimize your output. Let's say your team is totally bogged down trying to launch a new product feature. Just apply the algorithm. Step 1, question the requirement. Who actually said we need a 4-week beta testing phase? Get a name. Step 2, delete it. Cut those bloated middle management approval meetings entirely. Step 3, simplify the feature down to its absolute core. Step 4, accelerate your launch timeline. Step 5, automate your customer feedback loop. This isn't just for physics, guys. It is a literal cheat code for modern knowledge work.
And finally, Section 6. Building the impossible. Let's take a step back and look at the monumental scale of what happens when you aggressively compound these principles over decades. What actually happens when you apply this 5-step method relentlessly? 6. Just 6. By breaking down the supposedly impossible using first principles, Musk's XAI team was able to build a massive 100,000 H100 supercluster in just 6 months. When they asked suppliers for the timeline, the standard industry answer was 18 to 24 months. No way. By reasoning from physics rather than analogy and violently stripping away every single non-essential requirement, they completely shattered that industry standard.
This identical algorithm is the exact same engine powering all of these revolutionary companies. It's how SpaceX manages to land reusable rockets on drone ships in the middle of the ocean. It's how Tesla scaled EVs to the mass market. It proves that incredibly complex, seemingly impossible problems across totally different industries fall to the exact same logical sword. The best part is no part applies to a rocket just as much as it applies to an underground traffic tunnel.
And this brings us to a really massive realization. You don't have to be a billionaire or a physicist or even a hardware engineer to use this. You just need the tenacity to systematically apply this relentless simplification over and over again until your results become legendary. It's not a magic trick, right? It's a discipline. It's about being entirely obsessed with truth and utility. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to apply to your own life today. Look at your biggest career challenge right now. Think about the meetings, the processes, the endless approvals. Ask yourself, what rules are you blindly following today that you can boldly delete tomorrow? Start right there. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to see what you build and what you delete.